Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Bocchi the Rock, episode 2. Last week we watched episode 1. Now we're gonna watch episode 2. It is Monday. It is the 2nd of January. This weekend has been kind of crazy because it was the new year. Crazy in a whole bunch of different directions. Fun in a whole bunch of different directions. If you want more info on that, there's a stream VOD on Twitch where I talk about what I did this new year. I'll just tell you quickly. I went to a New Year's party, and I went in with 2 goals. One goal was to ask others what their New Year's resolutions are, and the second goal was to believe in them. And I ended up talking to 23 people, and I talked to more people, but 23 people and getting their New Year's resolutions. And I remember all of their names and all of their faces, which is weird and interesting and kind of cool and kind of useful. But I also had in-depth discussions with a number of them about what they care about, who they are, who they want to be, who they don't want to be moving into the new year, what their goals are, and got to understand a bunch of people that I had never met before, and a couple who I had met before, but only in passing, as real people. And there were silly answers and serious answers and powerful answers and awesome answers, and it was a ding-dang blast to do it as an exercise to get to know people and understand humans and people and what they're all about. And for so many of them, it's that they know what they need to be doing, often something that isn't quite work or isn't quite financially solvent or something like that, something akin to art maybe, and they just haven't gotten over that threshold of doing the thing. And it was really interesting to see echoes of Bocchi in so many of the people that I met. Not all of them, though. The best answer of the night I'll give you, I asked a guy named Will, and he went, "Fuck New Year's resolutions, I'm already doing it. I'm already going to the gym, and I'm drinking less alcohol." And then he looked down at the beer in his hand and went, "Shit!" Fantastic answer, for both because it's funny at the end, but mostly because I'm already doing it is exactly the right answer. You should have no reason to wait until New Year's to get the thing going. I like that a lot. And I liked the situation a lot. Or the circumstance or the exercise or however you want to put it. You might notice I've got a new thing. I've got a giant whiteboard out here. It's got all the stuff from the brew this morning. I am now streaming the brew daily live on YouTube on the main channel. If you're not getting notified for it and you are subscribed to the main channel, look out. Every morning-ish around 10 a.m. Pacific time-ish, I'll be going live. Let me clean this up. I just wanted to show you what we got up to. Maybe an idle slot in the future. I don't fucking know. $1 Discord, Patreon, and voting. Still a thing. And then the idea that I'm moving toward is something akin to $5 to get exclusive access to extra content that I will make that I can't put up on YouTube because of copyright issues. There are a lot of shows that I want to watch through in the way that I like to watch through shows, which is to watch through the episode and pause it when something happens that I want to talk about and talk about it. If you go back to the very beginning first videos on the channel, Legends of the Galactic Heroes, Lane, and otherwise, you'll find that those videos are precisely that. And the only reason I ever stopped doing that is because of copyright on YouTube. So I would like to be able to do that kind of content in the future. It is, I think, the best way that I can produce analytical content is to not be beholden to the timer-based version sort of thing. However, that content can't go up on the YouTube channel without risking the whole channel pretty frequently for copyright strikes. So I'm considering the potential of adding content. This won't mean losing any content off the channel, except insofar as I might have to rebalance things because I don't know how much I'm actually capable of. Adding content that would be exclusive to the Patreon. Things that I want to watch in that realm are listed here, and I think they're visible on the camera, so now they're saved forever. Good. Great. And that's that, and that's the new brew. Let me erase this really quick, and then we'll get into it. Bocchi za rock. Bocchi za rock. Whatcha? Bocchi's a rock. This is what we're watching today, Bocchi the Rock, episode 2. Episode 1 was cute as hell, and we had a lot of fun talking about it. It was really good. I did get called out for something stupid that I did, which is that I didn't accredit or even ask permission for the person that I got the art for the thumbnail from. I'm really sorry. That person's name is Suzunomachi. I'm not going to draw out the Japanese characters, but I'll put, this is what their Pixiv looks like, and this is what their Twitter looks like. You can go and follow that person. They're responsible for the cool wallpaper that I took. I actually took it from a wallpaper aggregator, so I had no idea whose art it was. That's my fault for not investigating it more effectively. I should have done that, so sorry, Suzunomachi. Hopefully you get a couple of followers out of this. Go follow that person. They make cool art. Bocchi the Rock. Very cool show. Very cute show. Very excited to see more of this show. Not sure what to expect from this next episode. This time, we're going to do some comment spotlight, talk about some of the things that you guys talked about after episode 1, and reflect those back and forth between you to build that whole community feeling sort of thing. Because actually communicating about the things that we've communicated about a show that seems to really genuinely touch a bunch of people's hearts seems like a valuable thing for me to do. And so, comments. Soda. It's interesting coming back to episode 1 and realizing that this is actually quite a restrained episode visually. Not in terms of shot composition or layouts, because they're sublime, but the visual gags and sheer unhingedness. Multiple very talented young directors made sure to put their mark on this show. This is a rare anime that completely reinvigorates my passion and devotion to animation as a limitless creative visual medium of collaborative experimentation despite the near collapse of schedule. Okay, well, let's get... Passion and devotion to animation as a limitless creative visual medium of collaborative experimentation is like, that's some baller wording. I like that a lot. That makes me very excited for the show going forward. Now, it is in reference to this episode being restrained, which it didn't feel overly bombastic, out of its gourd crazy, so I guess I should expect out of its gourd crazy as we move forward into the future. And I'll be so disappointed when what happens is just mildly crazy. No. I look forward to seeing that bombast and those varied artistic voices come through. One of my favorite things about anime as a medium is the differentiation between artistic voices and talents that you can really get. You know, you watch a show that's directed by one person and it's completely different from a show directed by somebody else. And it's one of those mediums where auteurism really thrives and exists, and you can't deny the existence of genuine auteurs in the film industry, sure, but not in Hollywood anymore. They all seem fucking samey to me. But when it comes to anime and animation, auteurism seems to be alive and well. You watch a thing by Satoshi Kon, and it's completely different from a thing by Hiroyuki Imaishi, and that's completely different by something directed by Anno. And there's this whole lineage historically of all of these very talented directors, episode directors, animation directors, who all contribute meaningfully and seriously to changing the voice and feel and experience of certain episodes or even full shows or even films that are produced in animation. Because animation is such a hands-on work. The thing that you're watching is directly and precisely the planned output of the creative. When you take a shot with a camera, well, you're limited by the frame, but also whatever's in the camera can see. And to some extent, you can choose exactly what's there. But to some extent, you're like, well, I'm going to shoot this person in this shot, and there's a building around them, and I can't do much about that. The walls are the way that the walls are. And that's not true in anime. The walls can be whatever the fuck you want them to be, and the walls can fall apart and fall away and show that there's sky filled with butterflies instead of being walls. And that costs like hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that effectively and believably in CGI, and it costs way less to just do that in animation. And so animation becomes this medium of genuinely boundless creativity. Beyond that, there's this sort of tradition, I think, or I envision it this way at least, of different episode directors handling different episodes of a show. And it seems to me that some of the really good directors are very much about their own vision. And some of the really good directors, Shinichiro Watanabe, for example, are really, really dedicated to ensuring that the individual visions of individual artists are presented and grown out and blossom in fullness in some section of the show. And Shinichiro Watanabe's a great example. Bebop is sort of more one thing. Not really, but sort of more one thing. And then Samurai Champloo, for example, is a whole bunch of different things, and each episode has a totally different voice. You know, there's a comedy hip-hop baseball episode, and there's a dramatic geisha romance episode, and they're right next to each other in the show, and they're totally different in every element, in every aspect, and that's awesome. And I don't know of any other medium where you can do that. You know, you can't go and get a book series, and you read one of the books, and you're like, wow, what an incredible tragedy, and then you read book 2 of the series, and you're like, haha, the best comedy I've ever experienced. It's like, you read Game of Thrones book 1, and it's this sweeping epic of internation politics and all of these hyper character driven dramas and social structures and things, and then the next book is erotic fiction. It's like, that's not how books work, but it is sometimes how anime works, and I fucking love it. And so I'm excited to hear that Bocchi is part of that grand tradition of anime being stupid and weird. It makes it my favorite thing in the world, and so I hope that Bocchi will become among my favorite things in the world as well. Moving on. BC. You are now the third person I've seen to turn a reaction of just the first episode of Bocchi into a 2+ hour lecture, heavily padded out with advice on self-improvement and introspection, the other two being professional psychologists. Yeah, so that's Ed from Psyculturists, and Brady also from Psyculturists, and now from Brady's own channel, which I think is Euro Brady. I've been in contact with Ed and Brady recently. We're becoming acquaintances, at least, if not friends, and I like the way that both of them are doing the thing. I've been doing this particular thing a little bit longer than they have, and they've both been doing the dealing with humans thing a little bit longer than I have, and we're meeting somewhere in the middle where we're like, well, doing this art thing can really help you do the doing with the human thing, and we're doing a thing there. There are a few people in this reaction space that aren't doing reactions, that are doing not just in-depth analysis or discussion either, but conveyance and connection, and building out on the foundations of what a show represents, using personal anecdotes and research and knowledge, experience and exploration of the real world in order to have a collaborative experience that we can share, not just with each other, but with all of you, so that we can have this idea of what the idea in the piece of media actually might be. And through this weird series of reflecting back and forth with you, the audience, reflecting back and forth with the Discord, with each other, we come to a better conclusion about what Bocchi the Rock actually is. And in doing so, what anime actually is. And in doing so, what art actually is. And in doing so, because of the nature of what art actually is, what humans actually are. What are we? Well, somebody defined art to me recently, I don't remember who it was, in broad terms paraphrased as something that expresses something inexpressible about humans, about us. And I think that's exactly right. And I think that by doing this thing that we're calling reactions that is nowhere near reactions, or at least nowhere near just reactions, we get closer to articulating the inarticulable nature of this fantastic medium that I think is maybe the best kind of art. Most useful, most dense, best is subjective. It's the best that I'm aware of, and the one that I am most interested in many ways. So, yeah, go check out Euro Brady and go check out Psyculturists, because there are some people grinding and doing it right and producing some really interesting, valuable content and different perspectives in different ways, in their own way, and finding success doing it for the right reasons. So check them out, and we'll be collaborating more in the future. There's a podcast that I did with Ed, and it went well. I definitely talked too much during it. Ed and I have discussed watching through Furikuri together, which I'd like to do soon, and he has expressed an interest in doing as well. So we'll be collaborating and moving forward and doing the thing more together in the future. So I'm into it. Thanks for calling it out, BC. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about in Bocchi and a lot to reflect on in Bocchi, and that seems exactly right. If anything, it just exemplifies the insane amount of depth that they've taken to create a realistic mental foundation and lasting first impression of a character that at first glance could fit the standard super shy introverted stereotype used in many other anime. Yeah, Komi can't communicate. Various things. She may act a bit absurd at times, and her thoughts and depictions of her reality degrade into cartoonish exaggerations influenced by her feelings, which will become much more apparent the further on into the show you go. But that's exactly right. Let's step back for a second and say, she may act a bit absurd at times. Yeah, me too, man. Yeah. It's pretty, humans are pretty absurd creatures. We think of ourselves as rational entities, and that's not true. It's not true at all. I just heard a story the other day about somebody he was sitting next to a comedian. The comedian was like, oh yeah, I quit smoking, can't smoke, terrible stuff. Sitting on a plane next to me, I can't smoke, terrible stuff, can't be smoking, can't do it. Get off the plane, he sprints to a store, buys cigarettes, sprints out the doors of the thing, and starts smoking. It's like, okay, but you just quit. You just said that you hate the stuff. It's like, yeah, but I need it. Oh, okay, so we're rational entities then. That's the theory. The theory is that we're rational and we follow what we actually believe in the world. Right. No. We're irrational, absurd entities. We do things against our own interests all the time. Constantly. We're broken as shit. So having a main character who's fucking weird and whose own thoughts and representations of her reality, quote, degrade into cartoonish exaggerations influenced by emotion, that's exactly right. That's a human being. And the fact that it's a two-dimensional character who's a representation of a bunch of other people, filtered through the lens of the author, who then sort of extrapolated from the people that they knew and their own thoughts, and then drew that down and wrote it out in order to create a representation that they could take and then mimetically share with you so that you could comprehend it, and you do, indicates that there's something fundamentally true about that kind of a representation of a human being. And there is. Bocchi's a real person. Obviously, she's a false person, but she's a close enough representation that when you see Bocchi, you see all the ways that Bocchi is like you and all the way that Bocchi is like everybody you've ever met. And your brain goes, ooh, that's me. Because that's you, motherfucker. You're weird, and your representations of other people are cartoonishly absurd. You ever have the experience where somebody says, man, I really expected you to XYZ, and you just go, how could you think that I am that kind of person? Well, because their representation of you is highly inaccurate. They have no idea who you are. Because nobody has any idea who each other are. So, getting a window into that via a human being who's a character like this, and you might say, I have no understanding of why a person might lock themselves in their room and never socialize. Well, you watch a show like this and suddenly you have that understanding. It's been given to you on a silver platter with pink hair. Ta-da! Ta-da! And now you get to empathize with it. Have fun. You get to feel what she's feeling. Good luck. It's perfect. There's a definite core of realistic personal struggle in how those actions and thoughts are constructed and play out. It is what makes her have a feeling of relatability to the point of the show being painful to watch for many people, including myself, and what makes periods of tension and steps of self-improvement that much more impactful when they do happen. There are a lot of quirks about musicians it accurately picks up on, too. Not just the animation accurately depicting them playing note for note, but creating depictions of flow states, putting emotions into music, and having music put emotions into them, and respecting and playing on somebody else's rhythm and energy. It will be a major help for Bocchi as she tries to climb the seemingly impossible mountain of learning to play on the same wavelength of her bandmates, even if she can't look them in the eye at this point. And of course, that's metaphor, and a real-life metaphor. Once she can play in the same wavelength as her bandmates, that's the same as being friends. And it's the same as being part of the great collective dance of the society that's all going at the same pace, and we're all dancing in a circle. And what are we dancing around? Well, I don't fucking know. Maybe something like truth. You know, maybe we're all dancing around some ideal that is true, and maybe the fundamental rhythm is the thing that represents best the thing that is true. Is like there's a beat, and the beat goes on and on and on and on, and that kind of thing. I don't fucking know, but music has something to do with it. Symphogear has that right. By the way, go watch my Symphogear reactions. They're like still the best thing on the channel in a lot of people's opinion, and I don't disagree. They're fucking amazing. And if you haven't seen, God, so many of you haven't seen Symphogear, and you need to. If you like the music and the human connection thing, that's what it's about in a framework of badassery. It's about cute girls who sing really hard, and then the singing makes them connect with each other, literally resonate, and gives them power to overcome chaos. And then they punch stuff real hard. Fucking amazing. Go watch Symphogear. Okay. If there's any hint I can give without spoiling, it's that as many anxious people also learn when they put themselves out there, she doesn't have to climb that mountain alone. Connection. Once you start dancing a little bit of the dance, other people start dancing with you, man. And you're dancing with everybody, and you can... Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I'm excited to watch you go on this journey. If you like this episode so much, it only gets so much better from here. Exciting. Absolutely fascinating. Yeah, at Psyculturists and at Eurobrady. Good peoples. Keiichiro Saito's directorial debut. Directed an episode of Sunny Boy, which... lots of people want me to watch. I put it on a poll once and it didn't thrive. I may have fucked up and put it against things that aren't. I don't know. Leg Shot is 2D. It's rotoed or traced, man. The animator Myon, who did the scene, has a very certain way of doing scenes that they tend to look extremely volumetric. Yeah, it's also herky jerky, and it's traced over CG or CG itself. It can't not be. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but it can't not be CG presented as well. I don't get it. Soda says the same thing. I don't know. Oh yeah, Ludwig number 2 with the great teacher Onizuka, fucking ugly face. I dig it. Hi, resident Japanese music nerd here. A bunch of other people are commenting really neat stuff about the production and all that shit, so I figured I'd give some fun info about the music references so far. To be clear, I don't listen to a lot of J-pop at all, so I find this useful, but most of it slides off of me, but it's useful to know the intricacies of what's going on, so we're gonna go through it. First off, one thing to be noted is that the author is a huge fan of AKFG, Asian Kung Fu Generation. Very famous Japanese rock band, mostly known for their anime songs. All 4 main characters share a name with each member: Goto, Ijichi, Yamada, Kita. In fact, the episode titles are all pretty much AKFG references. Needless to say, the connection is very deep. Get the right idea regarding the posters around her room and the venue being references. Hako-bun is Kana-bun. Yep. The image itself is also a parody of one of their band photos. The band pin she wears on her bag are really funny. They're all direct parodies. Super Fever is Super Beaver. Ciro Magnans is the Cro-Magnons. And something. And Sleep Pipe is Creep Pipe. Lastly, the club that the band meets in, Starry, is based directly off a real club in Shimokitazawa named Shelter. Look it up, and it looks exactly the same as the show. Bam. Bam. Yeah. Oh. Bam. Yeah, that's pretty correct. That's not far off. Yeah, you get the. This might be a different space, but that's pretty much it. It's a little fucking tiny place with the people are right there, and you can, when the singer sings and yells real good, you can feel the spray in the splash zone, which is as all live shows should be, I believe. Massively appreciate the comment. Yes, a lot of the backgrounds from the show are directly based off of real locations. It's pretty common, especially in the post Kyoani, I guess. I don't know who started doing this so much, but Kyoani's where I'm most familiar with it. Is you take a bunch of pictures of the places and then you draw over them to make them really pretty, and they do that a lot, and you can tell that they've done that a lot. Man vs. Life. That's a weird. That's not Jolene. Wait, that's not Jolene. What is that? Weird. Man vs. Life. Bocchi the Rock, which is also perfect. Human versus the existence thing. I agree. Bocchi the Rock is the perfect introvert fantasy of being adopted by an extrovert friend group that does stuff with you. Yep. You just don't want it to be a fantasy. And it'll always be a fantasy unless you're willing to do more than Bocchi does, because most of the time this shit doesn't happen. You have to go out and get it. But as a fantasy, it's a good representation of what could happen if you just had the sliver of balls that it would take to leave your room. Maybe it could go better, but I don't know. It's Johann Bauer. I'll read you, Johann. When Cloverworks decides to flex, they will smite you like a pan-galactic gargle blaster, wrapped in the slice of lemon and all. And it is becoming steadily more common for them. In an understated standout after standout, like Akebi sailor uniform, Spy X Family, and My Dress Up Darling, the team brings all kinds of heat. Look for the budget to get slapped on highly accurate fingering, and chords throughout. I do hope you will begin to rethink the reflexive need to bemoan the presence of CG. I refuse. Especially when it isn't there. It was. Your initial impulse is actually correct. It is good, and only when you went back under the certainty that you were looking at CG did you try to pick apart what was presented through that filter of bias. No, it wasn't good. It looked different. That's really what I meant to express, was that stands out. Not that it was good. And I don't think it looks good. And when I look back at it, I actually think it looks pretty shit. And I don't think it's 2D. I think it's CG or drawn over. And I think that the walk cycle looks jerky. And I don't like the scene very much. And also, it's an opportunity where you could have Yamada'd and presented a whole lot of information via the legs and characterization of the characters, via how they stand, how they walk, how they present themselves. And a lot of it seems to be missing. And I wish it weren't missing. Only when you went back under the certainty that you were looking at CG did you try to pick apart what was presented through that filter of bias, thoroughly missing the actual presence of exactly what you're talking about regarding legs and characterization. I disagree. I don't see it. You know, I compare that to what legs look like in Liz and the Bluebird, and it's dead. Not even. No chance. The second time around, you caught yourself and recognized the animation. Fair enough. There is a new paradigm of animation falling on us now, where artists can blur the lines between 2D, 3D, volumetric shading, and rotoscope. Cloverworks, as a studio, is chock full of artists that will make you question what you saw and how did they do it. Trust them. I'm not going to trust anybody except my eyes. I'm going to trust my eyes alone, and we'll see what I like and what I don't like. Having gone back and rewatched that clip a few times, I don't like that clip at all. There we go. I do appreciate the insight, though, and I do agree with the desire to rethink reflexive biases, because CG doesn't necessarily need to look bad, but that scene looks bad. I love baguettes. She lacks the stones. I get it. Because Bocchi the Rock. Nailed it. Nailed it. DC, someone on Reddit put it perfectly, and your I need to buy a guitar, which I plan to do, comment really secures it. Bocchi the Rock is the 2020's K-On! K-On! Was on a smaller scale, since it was really before worldwide and widespread appeal in universe, and Bocchi the Rock really incorporates social media like how students use it now. I can totally see Bocchi influencing middle and high school students to pick up guitar and drums like how K-On! Did back in the day. Super agree. I wonder if we could somehow find out how many people are being inspired to create bands and stuff, you know, because of Bocchi. Or really just to pursue any artistic pursuit, because music isn't the pursuit that everybody is like, that's the me one. Although I think everybody has a song in their heart. Go watch Symphogear. But I super agree. It definitely has that vibe of like, this is the new ages, new generations, same idea. You know, you'll get a new generation of rock bands or punk bands who are doing the same rebellion type of idea, or engendering or embodying the same vibe, aesthetic, mode of communication that others have done before. And that doesn't make their work less valuable. In fact, it makes it probably more valid, because you can look at it and say, well, something about that, we know something about that works. The question is what you'll do to experiment off of it and make yourselves unique and interesting, because, you know, we might put too much emphasis on being unique, considering that you're about exactly the same as people were multiple thousands of years ago, and just a couple billion humans who were kind of just like you have done the whole living thing, you know? So you're not that unique, because most of you is exactly the same as everybody else who's ever lived. So how do you find value in your own existence? Well, it seems to exist. The value seems to be inherent in the whole existing and experiencing part. You are unique, and you have a unique set of experiences completely because you're now, and because you're where you are, and because you're who you are. Nobody is like you, and nobody ever has been, and nobody ever will be. So, Bocchi the Rock, some people might point at it and say something like, oh, it's just a rehash of the previous thing. Maybe that makes it more valid, not less. But I don't know. Kilo Simp. From experience, the easiest way to start a conversation, and potentially a friendship, is to simply act relaxed and semi-formal, with a little bit of respect, I would say, is what you're going to say. Approach the person, greet them, offer a handshake, and introduce yourself. Simple is. Simple is, mate. I wonder if you're British or Australian. Just because I feel like an American would write simple as that. It's as simple as that. It is as I am an American airline pilot. Sorry. Hamburger. From experience, the easiest way, relaxed and semi-formal. I like the semi-formal with a little bit of respect for the person, right? Where you're not trying to overwhelm them and stuff. At this point, usually I think I go for fist bumps, but that's because touch is different in a post-pandemic world, you know? Yeah. People talking about the playing of instruments. Kids on the Slope and Hibike Euphonium get brought up. Yeah, really, really good. Also, Beck, if I recall correctly, has some stuff in it, and I also haven't seen Your Lie in April, but a lot of people have talked about it being very good. Hibike is, and Liz and the Bluebird are spectacular. So I don't know if a bunch of people saying, but I saw this thing and that thing looked cool, and they're right. They're probably all right. Huang Katur. Your eyes looked straight into my soul when you were talking about being alone and lonely, and I realize a few things that I've always ignored. I can be whoever I want to be is not because I want to be that person, but what I want is the result I want to get from being that person. I understand that if I want to get what I want from others, I have to understand and give them what they want. The first and most important step is to start a conversation and continue, which I'm so bad about. Those are all my thoughts and opinions about being alone. Thank you for sharing them. What I would say is, this part, if I want to get what I want from others, I have to understand and give them what they want. You also have to ask for it. The chances of you getting what you want are pretty low if you never ask for it, and they go up exponentially if you ask for it. So I read this one and I don't fully understand it. Linhua writes, I bought a trash can after watching Bocchi. It seems dark, tight place can actually calm you down. Made me remember the time I hid behind wardrobe when I was 10-ish after having a fight with my parent. Did you bought a trash can to chill in? To chillax? How big a trash can? How big are you? Because when I think of a trash can, I think of like a 13-gallon kitchen trash can, and I don't think I could fit in one of those, and I'm not large. I'm a pretty small person. So how big a trash can and how big are you? Yikes. What I will say is there's a film based off a real person with the same name, and the film is called Temple Grandin. Temple Grandin herself is a renowned autistic proponent in animal behaviorist and proponent for the humane treatment of livestock for slaughter. And one of the things that Temple Grandin came up with that is still used to this day is called the squeeze box or the hug box or the squeeze machine. And it's very literally a machine that squeezes you. It squeezes you with cushions around you, but it squeezes you real good. You get into it and it squishes you. And she made one for herself because she's heavily on the spectrum and discovered that it was incredibly comforting to be squeezed. And then she thought, I wonder if that works for cows. And it turns out that it works for cows. And so when cows are going to the slaughter, in most of the slaughterhouses, the ones that run with any sort of efficacy and care for the animals, they put the cow in a hug machine, a squeeze machine, and they squeeze it so the cow is calm. And that's very helpful. It also prevents the meat from being contaminated by all the hormones and chemicals that are released when you're fucking stressed and think you're about to die. So, that's pretty good. just mentioning it because hug machines and squeeze machines are a well-documented aspect of creating calm and a calming effect on humans. One very easily achievable form of that is a weighted blanket. And I'll say this, if you gain from being squeezed or compressed, a weighted blanket is an incredibly valuable investment that you should make for yourself. I've owned 2. I use one every night. The first one that I bought was from Weighted Idea, and it was nice. I purchased it from Amazon, so there it is. This one's queen sized, $37, $38. I got mine in, it's like a double or a long twin or something, but like a 15-pound or a 20-pound weighted blanket that's spread out across the entirety of the blanket, and it will compress you. And you put it on yourself, and you go, ugh, ugh, and it goes, ugh, and your body sort of goes, oh, and I don't know how else to describe it except in, and but it's great and incredibly helpful for getting me to relax and go to sleep. So, highly recommend weighted blankets. The one that I currently use, I upgraded as part of an overall move for moi away from synthetic fibers of all kinds. I have donated all of my polyester, but I have one of these, which is the Barabee Napper, which is a fully chonky woven weighted blanket. The one that I have is full cotton. I bought the cotton Napper, and it's quite a bit more expensive. I think I have a 20-pound one, so $260, which is not nothing, but I plan to have that blanket for very literally the rest of my life. And so it was worth it to me to purchase a good one. Highly recommend either of those or any other variety. I would start cheap and see if it works for you. And if it works for you, then take the cheap one that you've got and give it to a friend to see if it works for them, and then purchase a good one for yourself. Okay. Good luck. Much cozy. Melis. Continuing to listen to you talk about having to do the hard thing and act instead of running away and waiting was tough. Just the very act of listening to some guy on the internet, telling me to face reality. I'm training to be a school teacher despite having anxiety. Good on you. It's a worthy calling and a tough one. Might be exactly the right one for you. Despite having anxiety, so I've been thrown into a whole world of needing to face reality and be a better person every day. Yeah. Children will do that to you. They'll tear you apart too, so be careful of your mental health, and I hope that you have a plan and strategy to remain in contact with psychological professionals who can ensure that you remain stable and on sturdy foundations, because I know a lot of people who are in teaching who get blown this way, and that by the work. It's hard work, and in many ways, it's thankless work because people don't have a lot of respect for teachers in the way that I think that they should. So dedicate yourself to it wholly, and I believe in you. You can do it, Melis. The process should be enjoyable. The process is the hard part. The hard part should be enjoyable. Hard things should be good. And you can convert your internal compass to point you toward difficulty. If you can convert your internal compass to pointing toward difficulty instead of away from it, and you actively pursue the things that are most difficult for you, your life will get much more fulfilled. I won't say it'll get easier, because it'll literally and explicitly get more difficult, but it will be more fulfilling for your soul. And seems you're already pointed towards something pretty difficult. A lot of people would say, well, I can't be a teacher, I have anxiety, so good on you. Keep it up. Speaking of the show, I've only seen the first episode, so I'm looking forward to more. Seems like a really solid start. Seeing some clips down the line might just grab my attention even more. Very good. ZIGN, I think, will be the last comment. Really glad you laugh and enjoyed the gags here, like on your K-On! And Lucky Star days when I first discovered your channel. Yeah, I'm glad to have some lightness back on the channel, too. We got into a stream of pretty heavy things, and seriousness is good and important, and the world is serious, and maybe too much so now, and we can't help that. And well, I spend a lot of time burying my head in the sand and avoiding politics, avoiding conflict, avoiding really observing and paying attention to the things that are horrible in our world. Like the rampant depression, the opioid epidemic, the incredible rate of suicide and murder-suicide, the seemingly destroyed family dynamics, the number of people who are not comfortable with themselves in any way. Did I mention the rampant depression? Not to mention the war and chaos and fundamental uncertainty about the economy and disbelief in social norms and social structures, disbelief in any sort of tradition, loss of faith, and I don't mean religious faith, I mean faith in the self and faith in humanity, all of which seem to be interrelated to me, and all of which seem to be solvable by showing that there is joy to be had in the world, but only if you're aware of the difficulties, because focusing only on the joyful things is like locking yourself in a room and pretending that you're very famous and very happy when you're not. Or locking yourself in a pantry and consuming food because it makes you feel like everything is slightly less awful. Or locking yourself in your house and doing a bunch of drugs in order to avoid paying attention to the difficulties of the real world. So I'm glad that the cuteness is here and that we get a little bit of levity, because I've started opening my eyes to the darkness, seriously and intentionally, of this world. Not because I want to become the darkness, but because I want to know my enemy, and I want to fight it, and one of the tools to fight it is levity, and humor, and passion, and art, and music, and so it's good to have another tool in the toolbox again, and to remember a set of tools that I'm a fan of, let's say. Because I'm a fan of levity, and I'm a fan of shows about cute characters overcoming themselves. And I think they're really valuable. Really, really valuable. So, I'm into it. Honestly, was kind of worried when Bocchi won the poll, and you would find it cringe while watching the first ep, like other reactors. Yeah, tell me who they are. I'm gonna go fuck them up. People finding Bocchi cringe. You cringing at my Bocchi? No. Like other reactors, because lately I find your channel kinda became serious. Though by tackling Hitori's social anxiety is somehow a serious matter, still glad the fun and cuteness is back. Hey, cuteness is real serious. Cuteness is real serious. One of the most serious and influential lines in anime, in media, for my life, comes from Keion. Tanoshi wa tanoshi da yo. It's a truism, and it's the deepest, most potent thing that I know of. Fun things are fun. But you're right that the channel became kind of serious. But I wouldn't cringe at a show like this. And I said as much in my response. I am too cringe to find a show like this cringe. It's just relatable. And I linked a video that I posted a couple of months ago called Billionaire Mindset, which you can go and look up on your own, which is me reciting a rap that I wrote. Not a good rapper. Not a good musical artist. Not good at any of it. Don't care. Self-expression. It's real. Who cares? I am the cringiest. And so I want to be clear about something, which is there are a lot of new viewers who've come in because of Bocchi. A lot of you haven't been here for 4 years and seen where we started. I encourage you to go to the earliest videos on this channel, Ginga Eiyu Densetsu Legend of the Galactic Heroes Episode 1, the Serial Experiments Lane Reactions, Batum, things like that, and look at that human being. Because that human being is broken, terrified, isolated, and very much alone. My Gmail email handle is hikikomori, M-O-A-R-I, hikikomori at Gmail, and it's not a joke. Because I lived like a hikikomori for years. Isolated, terrified, anxious, stuck, powerless. So the person that I am now, who's only one step out of that, I live in a home with other people, people who I am beyond friends with and quite close to, and I've constructed those bonds myself. And and I go to the gym, and I made that happen myself. But it has not been easy, and it is not where I started. And so I want to be clear that I'm not some cool dude who's just had it together coming at this show from the perspective of like, haha, funny anime. No. I've put myself together with anime, with things like Tanoshi wa Tanoshidayo, with lessons that I've learned from Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, and Kill la Kill, and Monogatari, and Full Metal Alchemist, and Evangelion, and many of the shows that I've watched on this channel, and many of the shows that I watched before this channel, and Devilman Crybaby. I'm a person who put myself together using the lessons I learned from anime, because I didn't get those lessons effectively from my parents. I didn't get those lessons effectively from my schooling. I didn't get them effectively from my friends. I didn't get them effectively from teachers or parental figures or anybody else. I got them from Japanese artists. I got them from anime. And so when I sit here, or stand here now because I don't sit anymore, when I stand here and I tell you that anime can change your life, I say it from a place of experience. And it shows like Bocchi the Rock that can change your life. If it makes you go, ooh, that's me, and I don't like it, and I'd like to change it, then it's working. And if it makes you go, ooh, that could be me, and I want that, and I don't know how to get there, but maybe if I act like that character, I could get there, then it's working. And on that note, I mentioned it earlier, but I'm going to start doing something, and I'm not sure where to start, and I'm not sure how to start, but starting is the start. And talking about and telling you that I'm going to start it will help reflect back to me insights and ideas about how to do so. I'm going to start going through some of those pivotal shows that have changed my life, the ones that I've already seen, and I'm going to do them like lectures. I'm going to do them like a fucking college film class. Because I could teach a college film class when it comes to anime. When it comes to some of those shows, and I wouldn't be trying to get you a degree. How about get you out of your room? How about get you a life? How about get you some passion for existence? So I'm going to start teaching a class of some kind, and I'm going to have to charge for it, because the way that I want to do it is I want to be able to pause the video where we pause the video and talk about the things that are going on when they're going on, both in terms of composition and framing and art and color and what everything means and how it represents itself, but also in terms of the events that happened and how they played out and why they play out in a certain way that they do and what they represent and what they mean. And I can't do that stuff effectively on a regular basis on YouTube because my channel will get copyright struck. So that will become at least one of the exclusive pieces of content that's going to be available to patrons at the $5 tier in the future. If you'd like to get access to it and updates to it, throw me $1 on the Patreon to get access to the Discord and voting rights, which will probably become relevant as I decide what shows to start off with. Probably it will be either Devilman Crybaby or Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann or a couple of other things in that space that I think are on par and of a tier worth really investigating. Maybe Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, maybe Avatar The Last Airbender, I'm not sure. But I want to go through and talk about some of the most pivotal pieces of media that have changed my life, because it's a damn shame that I can't watch them the way that I want to and post them the places that I want to and share them with as many people as I can. And I'd like to be able to do that. And I'd like to find a way that I can do that that doesn't feel, well, that feels worthwhile in multiple directions. And I think that's a way forward for me for the channel. Let me know what you think. I am cringe personified. And I'm okay with people cringing at me because I don't really care. And maybe that's the answer to the whole thing. But to cringe at a show like Bocchi, only insofar as it reminds me of myself. And that's empowering in a strange way to me. So I love it. That's where we're going to end the comment spotlight. About an hour in. Seems about right. That may or may not be the length that these end up going. I don't know. I'm just going to talk about what I need to talk about in these videos for as long as I want to talk about it and then stop. So, Bocchi za Rock. Episode 2. I've got it up and ready to go. It's sitting at 0 the seconds. There will be 2 the versions. You can find the timer-based version that you're currently watching up on YouTube. It's made so that you can sync up your own copy of Bocchi the Rock with the episode. There's also the picture-in-picture version, that one. It's going to have the video up there. It'll be linked in the description down there. There will be a couple of different sources. People ask me about that. It's for resilience against copyright, as well as the inevitable destruction of various forms of media representation channels and different sites and stuff. So I've got it on a couple of different places that are in a couple of different countries in their bases and have a couple of different ways of handling DMCA requests and similar things. My favorite of those three platforms by far is Pixel Drain. Let me know which ones are your favorites. I know people use WeTransfer. Mega works for me as a backlog and a place to keep all my fucking shit. And I like the way that Mega handles DMCA and copyright counter notices and stuff. And I've interacted with the Mega staff on that front multiple times, enough times that I'm confident in the process. My favorite of those sites by far is Pixel Drain, and I'm a really big fan of the single programmer. His name is Fornax, who runs Pixel Drain, to the point where I give him a bunch more money than he asks for on Patreon every month in order to not only have unlimited storage on Pixel Drain, but also keep my files forever. Because I'm a really big fan of Pixel Drain as an element of a thing. It's also backed by Libry, L-B-R-Y, which is a cryptocurrency. I wouldn't call it a cryptocurrency. It's a decentralized media storage thing, and that's why it's so censorship resilient, which is very nice. Go watch it on whichever one of those that you want. If you are going to watch the picture-in-picture version, please come back here because we're going to have probably some dank-ass discussion here at the end of the video. That's it for stuff and things. Check out the Patreon. Let's watch some Bocchi. Bocchi the Rock, Episode 2, Beep Beep Timer. Hello, puppers. A fun angle. A fun bath. Is that ice in the bath? Are you doing an ice bath, darling? Darling. Hey, a desexualized ass shot. Why are you doing an ice bath? I agree. I talked to you guys about cold showers just the last... Ice baths work. Also, submersion up to the neck works better, so... Oh yeah, maybe we'll probably meet Red this episode. That should be what we're doing, isn't it? The freaked out face is amazing. I wonder who that is with the shark teeth. Oh yeah, people have pointed out that she's playing like a limited edition Les Paul. Like, hyper limited, extraordinary, multi-$1,000 guitar. So it's odd that nobody has realized that she is Guitar Hero-san. My savage nature is beyond wild. Ashta. Loin. Yes, gird your loins. Still, putting your own barriers up, right? Nobody's said shit to you. In fact, a lot of them represent themselves as, like, I'm weird. That's what, like, the black hair and the rings and the piercings, it all says I'm fucking weird. They're usually the nicest people. Okay. Oh my god. Uh-huh. Totally, totally, totally. That's cruel. Oh. Member meeting! Oh my god, that's a lot of... Gosh, it reminds me of the... Never mind. It's great to just bring it up. Uh-oh. Bungee jumping? Oh, is it a die? It's a dice? Hui! Doing, 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 doing. Dun 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 dun. So you're the one, you're the weirdo. So you're the odd one out. Oh, we're doing the talking. Whoa! Wait, what? All right, done with that. Let's roll into the dice again. Oh my god. The Loneliness Hill. Urban exploration. Oh, no, she goes places and does things. She... Wow. Oh, exceptional. The lonely and the loner is too deep and vast. Metalcore. Whoosh. Not 100% sure. Oh, wow. This is very fun. Totally irrelevant. I just don't know what Seishun means. Oi! She's just talking to the guitar! Oh, that's spectacular. That's stellar. And it ruins it. Or does it stop being rock once you become popular? Yeah, we are named after zip ties. I don't get that joke. We need a vocalist. Is it red? Oh, yep, it is. She's not. Or if she is, she's overcome. Nope. Yep. Shuka shuka. Easy peasy. Ryo-chan is way too ultra talented. It was all in preparation. The backgrounds do look great. Just a full deflect. Okay. Hmm. But if you don't make it, no more. Ooh, you gotta pay for the tickets. Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. But you can't count on that. Oh! Yeah, yeah. Can't. Yeah, they won't buy tickets. Delusions. Tens of thousands of yen? Wait, yeah, she's gonna have to get a bite though? She's never even been able to. Yep, too terrifying. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. No, it's not. Oh. Oh. she's just yes. Thank you very much for your sacrifice. It was amazing. What do you think that will be like? Not good, huh? Oh, yeah, and then thousands of people. Ha 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 ha. Not this cashier. Exactly right. Whoosh. Absolutely lost. Oh. Coco Day? Oh, that was amazing. That was almost like a full transform. Ooh. Please make the JoJo's reference. It wouldn't be social anxiety if we had the courage. Amazing. I do believe it. What? Yeah, which part of that? Real. You're weird. You're weird. I love her. Yeah, if she can. Oh, is that bump of chicken? Champ of human? That's bump of chicken. Oh, okay, that's why. And we catch right back up. That's too long. That's too long. You don't need that long for a cold plunge. Ugh. Everything except. Duh. Oh, she's trying to get sick. She's not trying to overcome something. Fucking fool. You fool, Bocchi. It makes you stronger. Damn it. Nah, you don't even have the courage to say no, do you? Ah, she's so fucking supportive. It's like a free therapist. I'm trying to fuck up here. Come on. Wow. Ooh. Yo, what? Amazing. That's a really cute cooking scene too. They've really nailed a lot of the emphasis moments, and the characterization is exceptionally woven through. 5 more minutes. Oh, is it black? Oh, it's Dagashia. Yeah, you should have just mentioned what you were here for, and I wouldn't have freaked out. Not that she freaked out at all. God damn it, look her in the face. Wow. That was very cute. So many little bits of... Incorrect. So many little bits of micro characterization. These, oh, it's exceptional. Yes, you did. Oh, she doesn't remember anything. She wasn't paying attention. She was freaked out. Yeah. You ever try not to worry about something? Oh. Oh. I love her pants. Where did the Bocchi go? Honestly relatable, yeah, fair enough. Oh, that's really really cool looking. Damn. Not with that attitude. Yeah, where did that... Literally, from where? Tequila, vodka, Kahlua, rum. Oh, but she's actually not that bad. She's just fucking terrified. She figured it out, didn't she? Uh-huh. Your secret has been found. Yeah, it's gotta be Bump of Chicken. Oh. 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 Hmm. Okay. High level. Wow, that was actually gorgeous. Bring, ding, 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 ding. Yeah. It all falls apart immediately. Wow. The oscillation is nailed. It's just nailed. No practice. In the deep end. Yeah. Oh. Now we play Papers, Please. Ah. Are you kidding? There's been a ton of growth. Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah, you're no longer the center of focus. Yeah, you can relax. Sweet. It's a lot of tune. That's too much tune. Can I get more dairy in my tune, please? All right, I can't. There are two things going on. Is this time for a major debut? No box. So after a beat, we just said, hello, welcome. You'll get used to it. Cuz? Oh. A reason bigger than myself, huh? All was so fucking negative. Ishoni. Not alone. Ooh, the tears are there. They're right there. Ishoni, man. Fucking hell. And into music we go. And of course, they've got a great artist for it. Oh my god, she always has to compare herself. She can't get lost in that moment. Fuck. Oh, there we go. I might have to change. Not even aware of it yet. She's doing the thing. It doesn't matter what the thing is, she's doing it. It was awkward and awful, and it doesn't matter, and she doesn't care. Most people don't think about you. Yeah, a long, long stare. That's a reference. Yeah, 1,000 steps in one. Fuck. Bye bye. Oh? Tomorrow, tomorrow indeed. You did it! And she's so happy. Do we get a fall off as well? Smack into somebody? No. Oh, now she's gonna get sick. God dang it. Uh-huh. Oh, no. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Number 3 at karaoke. Now, watashi. Gotta have somebody who's got the confidence and competence to step out in the front of a band, which means a weirdo. You want a lead singer, you're gonna have to find a fucking weirdo. So I can't wait to find out how weird she is. How opposite of Bocchi she is, because she'll have to be. Man, it's hard to even stay conscious of the quality of the framing composition and general character animation because of how smooth I find it. It all flows together, which is exactly what you want, is to lose yourself in it and to go into flow state. It's not what you want when you're doing analysis, though. Be right there. Damn it, I missed it by a second. So I was just saying as we fade out, it's really hard for me to stay consciously aware of the quality of animation and composition that's going on, which is a good thing, but it's a bad thing when you're trying to do analysis, and it's a perfect thing when you're watching a show. You want to be lost in it. You don't want to be aware the whole time that, oh, what I'm watching is a piece of art. What I'm watching is the generation of a bunch of people, and those are characters who are drawn. You want to feel like those are people, and that's a place, and this is an action that happened, and those are thoughts that are happening. And the show does an almost immaculate job of taking you on that journey to the point where it's going to make my job now of doing the analysis harder, because so much of the time during this episode, I was actually unconscious. And that's the goal, or it should be the goal of the art piece itself, is to make the observer sucked into it. And that's the goal of a piece of music too, is to remove you from yourself and align you with something bigger and greater and more interesting. I find it fascinating that what Bocchi ends up doing is an ice bath, because ice baths, I would say, are exactly the thing to do to get you better at overcoming things that you don't want to overcome. Now, I use cold showers as a stand-in because I neither have the time nor energy to draw up an ice-cold bath and submerge myself in it, nor do I have an expensive cold plunge tub out in my backyard. But ice baths are exactly the thing that you should do if you could do it, not to get yourself sick, which is, of course, the twisted thing that she's doing, but to get yourself capable of overcoming difficulty, and to actually, well, also a ton of health benefits, but submersion in cold water generates adrenaline. It generates it. So getting yourself accustomed to the feeling of being on, accustomed to the feeling of being nervous, accustomed to the feeling of being anxious and freaked out, and literally freaked out and overwhelmed, and in a crisis situation, you can get yourself accustomed to that, and you can get yourself accustomed to generating that adrenaline yourself, both to get into the bath and while you're in the bath, and holding yourself doing something difficult. So that's interesting that that's what we have Bocchi doing. The first shot of the episode is stellar with these feet going by. Click, click. It's really cool looking, and it sets us up in a fantastic way for what is going to happen. She is marching on forward, but not for the reasons that I would hope and expect. Very cold. I appreciate the lack of sexualization in here. I just want to point this out quickly, because it's actually very important to me. 8 out of 10 anime in a situation where they've got their main character in a bathing suit bending over would draw anatomical details here. At least like a line down the center to indicate cheeks or something. And there's none of that, and I approve, because that's not what we're here for. This is a character doing a thing, not a sex object for us. And so I approve of it. I'm not going to spend too much time dwelling on it, but I will point out that most shows that you watch will take any opportunity to sexualize their characters, because sexualization leads to more engagement, or at least a lot of people think that. And I appreciate that it's not happening here, because I don't have the desire to sexualize or exploit Bocchi's femininity for that purpose. And this is just goofy as fuck. Just a few more... Which is about exactly how it feels when you're in cold or hot water. You get into a hot bath and stay there for a bit, and your body's going to get to the point, especially if it's very steamy in the room, you're going to get to the point where you're like, I need to get out now. I did that the other day, and I just sat there and I counted to 60. I need to get out. 31, 32, and I lost count like 30 times. And it was hard as fuck, but just staying in for longer, holding out for longer. It's pretty cool. But Bocchi playing in the closet. The OP goes by, and the OP is still stellar. It's still very good, very fun. And I like the pop-ins for the loin texts. Very fun and goofy. Meet up at Starry tomorrow. The joy of getting loin messages. And then the fear of, quote, walking in there like the hick I am. Looking like the hick I am. Everybody's immediately going to know that I don't belong there. Because they're all cool, right? All right. The coolest people that you know are probably cool because they're capable of wearing their weirdness on the outside. Sometimes when you meet people who have crazy hairstyles and piercings and tattoos, sometimes they're up in their own head about it. And they're like, I'm so cool. Usually, from my experience, they're a freaked out person who's overcome some of their damage and is expressing outwardly the fact that they've overcome some of their damage. Now, sometimes it's a desperate gamble to feel unique and special, and sometimes it's an actual representation of being unique and special and okay with it. And very often those people, if you show a little bit of your weird, will love you for it. It's just unfortunate that a lot of people find those trappings and representations to be somewhat scary or off-putting. But some of the nicest guys that I've ever met are tattooed head to toe. And some of the nicest human beings that I know of on the planet have shaved undercuts and blue fucking mohawks and piercings and wear eye makeup. I'm thinking of Taliesin Jaffe specifically. Because Taliesin is exactly that kind of a person and is an elder emo in a lot of ways. Punks and rock folks, usually they're there to connect. And so, like many of Bocchi's spiraling out fantasies, this one is silly, but it's exactly right. If I walk in there, everybody's going to know that I don't belong. And it's the same feeling that presents itself at school. If I walk into school, everybody's going to look at my shitty tracksuit and my existence and my hair, and I'm not going to belong. I won't fit. Ugh. And this is throughout the whole episode, and it's maybe the core of the episode. And the lesson that comes from it that I'll start saying now and will apply multiple times over the course of the episode as we move through is, first off, most people aren't thinking about you. They're too busy thinking about themselves. Many people, it's kind of like with spiders or snakes, sometimes people will say. Many people are too worried about what you think to think about you. Here's how you can prove this. You can prove this pretty easily. Have a conversation with somebody, and while you're having the conversation, or an interaction, checking out at a cashier, for example, notice what you're thinking about. Because what you're thinking about is probably what that person thinks about you. Right? Right. You're probably worrying what they'll come away with as a representation of you. Well, you get to see that inside your own head, but you don't get to see what's going on inside the other person's head. What if what's going on in their head is the exact same thing, and they're super worried about what you think of them? Well, then you can change your perspective, and you can start being someone who is the person who's thinking about other people and determining how to express what you think of other people to them. And what you'll find is that people light the fuck up whenever you're thinking about them, because most of the people that they interact with aren't thinking about them, and they're desperately worried about what those people think of them. Mostly we define and dismiss people, make a judgment call on what we think of them, and then interact with them to the extent that we must in order to accomplish some task, like checking out at a cashier. And we're not really thinking about them at all. I know a bunch of cashiers. I've become friends with them because I go to the same store most times, and usually on the same days, and buy food there. And so I've gotten to know the people who work at the cash registers there. And very often they'll tell me stories about what's going on in their life in a way that is, I don't want to characterize it as needy, but it's looking for insight. It's looking for opinion. It's looking for, well, what do you think of this thing that I said that I did? Because a lot of people are really worried about what you think about them. Maybe too worried about it to think about you and whether they should judge you. Could be a useful thing. And then this one's not quite so related. At least it doesn't come up in Bocchi so much, but I think it's a useful one nonetheless, and so I'm going to write it down. We spend a lot of time worrying about whether other people like us. But most people don't even like themselves. So maybe their opinions don't matter for shit. And maybe you liking you is the most important thing. So, some jumping off points from that. What if you don't like you? Then you need to change you. Or you need to change your perspective. Because maybe there are things about you that you can't see because you're blind to yourself that are likable. Or maybe you're not likable. And maybe you know it. And if that's the case, then you already know what you need to do. And you already know that there are changes that need to be made. But relying entirely on the evaluations of others, especially people who may or may not even like themselves, to judge whether you're likable, that's not worth it. It's not worth it. You gotta be a little bit more narcissistic than that and focus a little bit more on whether you like you, and then focus on molding yourself into someone who you could like. And like is a little bit thin. How about admire? How about mold yourself into someone you could admire? What's the kind of person that Bocchi would admire? Well, she's meeting it in her friends now. Somebody who's okay being alone and not freaked out by it in Rio. Somebody who's competent and a good guitarist and a good artist. Somebody who's capable of looking other people in the face. Who's maybe more gregarious and extroverted. She's got all these examples of the kinds of people that she would admire and does admire around her. And by being around them, she's shifting into being more like them. And that seems exactly right. When you do meet people who like themselves and they have traits that you admire, then you can worry about whether they like you. Because them liking you will be a much better indication of whether you are likable. Whatever likable means. Seek out the opinions of those people who you admire. Ignore fucking everybody else. Because there are a lot of people who are not admirable. And their opinions shouldn't matter to you at all. Not one bit. Good luck. That's just the first fucking line. God damn it. Okay. Made it in last time because I was with somebody else. Vacillating. Getting right to the threshold of doing the thing. Not doing the thing. Stepping back away from it. No, hold on. I'll do it next time. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start the next time. Yeah. Get right up to the thing, back away. Get right up to the thing, back away. Stay away from it. Too scary. Take the hot pepper and no. No. Pinky toe in the cold water. Ooh, no. Ooh, go. No. Yeah. Fear. What's the answer? Overcome it. Do it. Jump. Go. Stop it. Slap yourself in the face a few times. Go. I don't know what else to do. There's no trick. There's no secret method. There's no pace around 5 times. Actually, there is a secret method. Fuck, I'm wrong. It's Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins has a method. Hold on. A lady human named Mel Robbins has a method. She looka like this. Oh, that's the wrong thing. She looka like an orange. Very good. She looka like this. This is Mel Robbins. She's a person and a speaker and stuff. Now a podcast host and stuff. She wrote a book called The 5-Second Rule. And the 5-second rule is not about dropping food on the floor. The 5-second rule is a tip and a trick to get you to do things. And I've been utilizing it pretty much every day to get up out of bed, and it works sometimes. Because I make it work sometimes, and sometimes I don't make it work. But the rule is this: when there's something that you need to do and you don't want to do it, count backward from 5. And when you reach 1 or 0, you do it. I do this when I'm getting ready to get under the barbell for a squat or for a piece of a workout, because I have a tendency to stand there and get all prepped and ready and just breathe for like 10 minutes because it's like scary, because it's hard. Because I know that it's hard and it's difficult. And so I'll be like 5 breaths. The next one I have to do it. And then you just do it. And apparently there's some neurological trick present in that where you interrupt your emotional brain with your logical brain by making the number counting happen, and that gets you to overcome yourself and make the thing happen. I don't know how the fucking neurology works, but it does work. So a trick in Bocchi's case, where she's like, I have to get through this door. As soon as you realize that there's something that you need to do that you're not doing, 5, 4, fuck, the count's in my head now. I don't have a 3. God damn it, I'm doing this to myself and I can't even stop the count from 2. Shit, stupid ass fucking 1. God fucking damn it, I guess I'll just okay. And you did it. So there's a trick that I think works. But it's still just a trick in service of building yourself to the point of ready, but you're never going to be ready. The point of doing it, even though you're not ready. And using something external that isn't just your motivation, but is instead a timer or a countdown or something like that, seems like a very valuable way to overcome things like this. It also makes for a very, very cute scene that demonstrates Bocchi's silliness to us really excellently. And I love how the other characters respond to it. No. Let me watch. I'm enjoying this. Very cool. Hi, so I really like this. Member meeting, and we get tons of the little characterization, the little wibble wobbles, all of the little moments, and excellent, just excellent. Roll the thing and TAS for short, and then we get a pochi. Where is that? Din. I don't remember where the pochi is, but it's beautiful. The idea that someone could be like me. Ryo-san is just like me, living on Loneliness Hill. Yes. However, of course, she likes it here. And we get a spectacular, really fantastic piece of animation that I think is awesome. Someone with social anxiety could never enter a clothing shop on her own. The way that this flows out, and she's getting literally dragged backward. It's not just that the flowers fall apart, the hillside falls apart. All of your foundations fall apart around you, and actually they're lava, and also it's not just there waiting, it's actively pulling you in. Welcome to the darkness that's stuck inside your head. Perfect, and the animation's excellent. I don't know how they did that smoothly. Because it's not just to zoom out, there's an effect on it as her hand is in a three-dimensionally represented. It might be that same sort of CG Roto-y sort of thing, but it flows really well and I like it a lot. Crack. So that's the first major one of our cartoonish representations of emotion. And they're the best thing in the show so far. Or my favorite part of the show so far is these cartoonish representations of how a thing feels visually, emotionally, through audio, etc. We talk about music. Seishun komplexu means what? Wanderer, drifter, masterless samurai, jobless person. No, Seishun is youth or springtime of life. Falling in love, the thrill of the more intense feelings you might experience as a teenager or a young person. Blue spring. Got it. Okay. So thrill of life, youthfulness, engagement, all of those things, the things that are opposite of how Bocchi feels about the world, makes perfect sense. And she likes any songs that don't trigger that don't have happy vibes and vibes about about other people getting along and knowing each other and falling in love in high school and hanging out on beaches and playing music together and enjoying their existence and all that jazz. Perfect. I love the instrument secondhand friends. They're the same representation as the friends that you keep at home that aren't real friends in Beauty and the Beast. Because the Beast in Beauty and the Beast is a fucking hikikomori who stays in his room all day and talks to his imaginary friends who all pat him on the back and go, yes, you should stay here and don't hang out with anybody else. That's not quite how Beauty and the Beast goes, but it's close enough as a representation to be useful here. You've got all these fake characters that she lives in, and she, there are cute characters in Hibike Euphonium that are utilized for a very different purpose, Trombone-kun and Tuba-kun, but those are just characters that are representations of the thing that the character who loves those instruments loves, and so they don't end up being in the way. Bocchi's representations of these fake friends actually kind of get in her way, even though they help explain her internal state and are totally happy and enjoying themselves as they do. I also really like the inclusion of real photos. It makes those real things feel more distant to me. It's like those are the things that I see in media that are never my experience, right? Because Bocchi is never in that kind of a scene. Those things are so extrapolated and so different from me that they're as different from me, the anime character, as a photo is from animation. That seems correct. Groups, peace, love, everybody jumping together, everybody who has it easy, who hears the fundamental rhythm already out there dancing the dance. And the fact that they're all dancing the dance just makes you stand there going, I wonder if it's okay if I could join. No, it's definitely not okay if I joined. I would fuck it up and everybody would notice. I'd fuck that shit up and everybody would notice and they'd laugh at me. She's lost in her own world, of course. And the little thing, she's literally talking to it, right? She's in a conversation with new friends and cannot help but get sucked into isolation and speaking to nobody. And her friends, her new friends, if they were more judgmental, would go, this girl is out of her gourd. All right, peace, Bocchi. We'll see ya. We're going to get the heck out of here. But instead, they don't. They realize that they've lost her in the conversation. They go, whoa, we've lost the Bocchi. Come back, Hitori. Come back. Come back to Earth. Back to Earth, please. I like this. Rock resonates as the music of the perpetual underdog, and then she hits us with the next line, is it really rock if it's sung by life's winners? So, like, the artistic merit of somebody who hasn't experienced pain is non-existent. And that might be true. I actually don't know if it's untrue. Now, here's the more interesting question. What if you're a loser, and you become a winner by performing punk rock? Okay? Are you still a punk rocker? Is it still art? Or do you start making suffering from success style albums? Or do you have to continuously seek out greater hardship and pain and discomfort in yourself and the way you exist in the world? Because I think that's the answer. I think the answer is that if you want to keep creating great art, you have to continue seeking out greater discomfort. Because the overcoming thing is the art thing. It's like, a hard punk band gets really famous, and then their whole thing was rebelling, and now they're popular. And they were rebelling against what's mainstream, and now they're being played on the radio. Shit. Their identity gets washed. It's a really poignant thing to bring up and an interesting one. But it's also a way of, I don't know, convincing yourself that staying on the outside is the only way. Something like that. I love the pun. I'm trying to establish some ties here, and we get, I get it, Keshoku Bando. Guitarist, where'd the guitarist go? And there she is. Maybe she's socially anxious like me, and of course, no, couldn't be. And we'll see who that character is, because maybe I'll bet, because of the way that we've seen Red consciously interact with others, I'll bet Red tends toward Bocchi-ism, Hitori Bocchi-ism, and actively chooses a different path, and is consciously aware of the things that she does to stay and keep her popularity and things like that. I'll bet there's a conscious element to her, unlike the unconscious Bocchi, who is incapable of making that jump. And I'll bet she's going to be the most poignantly relatable to Bocchi character that we meet. But I don't know. I love Ryo's answer here as well. If I were to serve sad, what is it? Paku Paku? Shiku. I would overwhelm the band and crush it. I'm just too good. I'm too good to be the lead singer. Fucking awesome. When we get the dead eyes to her. How dare you? How dare you? I'd like a little bit of that confidence for myself. Too bad. Too bad. You can't have it. You have to go and get it. And I love this. You do this. You do this. Okay, so what are you going to do? Oh, let's talk about this now. Amazing. Amazing. Go. Oh. And all the characters, they're so fucking cute. I really like the explanation of the way that the quota thing works. Very useful and makes a lot of sense, because it would mean that being a small band would be a money pit, because just to get yourself up on a stage, you have to pay the in-between monies. So you have to get people to come to your band and your performance. And that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Please lose the dead fish stare. I've got tons of friends, but none of them real. Yep, and you can't buy tickets for imaginary friends. So let's get jobs. Okay. Wait, what? Arubaito? Part-time jobs? No. I don't want to work. Too scary. But what is work? And why is it so scary? Has she ever done it? Does she know that it's scary? No, she's just reluctant. She's just resistant to it. Couple things. We suffer by our reluctances. It's exactly what she needs. It forces her to do the thing. And she has no idea what it'll actually consist of. She just has imaginations of how badly it could go that are grounded in no form or semblance of reality at all. Not even a little bit. And so she is instead willing to sacrifice her life savings, implied, and her mom's life savings, rather than do a thing that she might find slightly difficult. And of course, we get Ryo, who's just like, oh, yes, thank you very much. No, we're not taking that. I don't want to work. I don't want to work. Why? Because obviously it'll be like this, and then everybody will notice it, and then they'll all laugh at me, and then it'll go super viral, and everybody will be thinking about how lame I am. Okay. I've got a question for you. It's a pretty embarrassing experience to be at a party somewhere and to spill food on yourself, right? Or at a meeting or something, and you spill food on your pants. Or, you know, you've spilled some water and it's on your pants, and you're fucking worried that somebody's gonna think it looks like you peed yourself. Okay. And that shit can tear you up all day. For a whole day, it'll just destroy you. Gosh, everybody knows that I dropped a donut in my lap and I look like a fucking idiot. Even though nobody mentions it to you, nobody seems to notice. So here's a question. When's the last time that you remember someone else spilling a beer at a party? Or knocking something over and breaking it? Or dropping some food down their lap? Or on their shirt? Or they're talking and and they spit a little bit accidentally? When's the last time that you actually remember that and have it associated with the person? Because I'll bet you can't remember an event. And if you can, it's probably a really specific event that went in an interesting direction. You know, it was right next to you and it almost spilled on you and a cat came over and ate it and you're like, oh, well, that was funny. And so it solidifies it in your brain. But probably at every party or social event or Christmas party or Halloween party or gathering or family dinner or Thanksgiving that you've ever been to, somebody has spilled some shit on themselves, embarrassingly, and you've seen it happen and you've totally forgotten it. So why is it that the times when it happens to you, you're thinking, oh God, the most embarrassing thing in the world. I'm never going to live this down ever. Okay, so when's the last time you checked out at a cashier and remember them not looking you in the eye? Now, most cashiers deal with a lot of people, so they usually look you in the eye, but it's not uncommon to go into a combini, a convenience store or something, and have a youth behind the counter who doesn't look you in the eye effectively. Or McDonald's cashier, or a food service person, or something like that, who acts a little bit awkward, or stumbles over their words a little bit, or says something that's a little bit off and then reconciles it. Or when's the last time you actually remember somebody around you doing something that you would find endlessly embarrassing if you were in their circumstance? And they probably found it endlessly embarrassing too. Probably you don't remember one. So forgive yourself for your own embarrassing behavior, and step into situations that might become embarrassing because probably nobody cares, because most people aren't thinking about you, and most people are too worried about what you think of them to think about you. Because the lady at the cashier is probably too worried about whether you think that she's a fatty for buying the whatever she's buying, whichever food, probably too worried about that than worried about whether you're looking her in the eye. And the kid who comes up at the store, at the convenience store, is probably too worried about whether you think he looks underage even though he's not underage and trying to buy alcohol, or is too worried about whether you're going to judge that person for buying condoms or whatever the fuck it is, right? Yeah, they're usually more worried about what you think of them, or they're not thinking about you at all. But this, as a representation of the way that your brain takes a circumstance like that and spirals it out into continued insanity that's just like, and then she'll notice me, and then somebody will film me, and I'll be as embarrassing as possible, and I'll fuck it all up, and then they'll make it on Twitter, and people will make fun of me, and hundreds of thousands of them will know exactly who I am, and they'll care. And you put that against the fact that hundreds of thousands of people spend all their time trying to make it, posting dozens of artworks and videos and silly gags and jumping off buildings and jumping into pools or whatever, and doing stupid stunts and things and making idiots of themselves and getting 3 views. And one comment that says, haha, do it from a higher building next time. Haha. You put the incredible difficulty of getting anybody to pay attention to you for any reason against the insane idea that a bunch of people will pay attention to a slightly embarrassing thing that you do, and you can suddenly recognize how ridiculous it is. But your anxiety doesn't care if it's ridiculous. It's true to you now. You build the monster up in your head, even if it's made of smoke. And the bigger the monster that you build, the more afraid you get, and the harder it is to step out and try to face the monster. But as soon as you even start moving the sword around a little bit, you find that there's not even contact, and the sword just goes straight through the monster, and you walk forward and, oh shit, the monster doesn't exist. I just have to do the thing. Bingo. Now this is great. Bizarro news. We seek the death penalty for being embarrassing. Yes, and the ruling is death. And instantly I will die, and that will be exactly right. I love the set of styles that we go throughout that. Really stellar. Really stellar. Great gag. Very cute. Absolutely spectacularly hilarious. I love it immensely. You should work here with us. And that's that. Okay, so that's the one at 10 or so that I put down. It's like a full warp of her whole face place. Here. Come on, please don't be broken. Doing. Boing. Wow. And then again. Fantastic. Fantastic. What a great depiction of mild surprise. You don't have to be scared. You'll be with us. Right. I'll be with you, confident people who will demonstrate through your confidence just how incompetent and useless I am. and they loom and they loom. And in her head, she's still going, don't want to work, don't want to work, don't want to work. She's holding on to that reluctance, that bias against a thing that she doesn't have any experience with. And that's true. The less experience you have with something, the more likely you seem to be to generate a frightening representation of it because it's the unknown. And we're built to fear the unknown. Quite literally, you're built for it. You can't help it. You can only consciously overcome it. And if you want proof, turn off the light in your room, go stand outside the door, stick your hand in the door into a dark room that you can't see into. Stick your hand in the door and give yourself, how many seconds is it going to take for you to start generating monsters in the unknown? Better yet, turn the light off into your room, step into the room, close the door behind you. Total darkness, totally unknown. How long is it going to take for there to be monsters in that room? It's instant. It's instant. Your body, your mind generates them in the unknown because dark places where you can't see are where monsters are. Snakes and other monkeys and wolves and hyenas and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! You don't know what's out there, so you generate the most scary thing that you can. Dragons and demons. Hands reaching out from under the bed. Enjoy your nightmares. You want waking nightmares, put your hand into a dark room or a dark closet, or go to the garage and turn the lights off in the garage and put your hand into the dark garage. You're done, son. Your mind will immediately generate a bunch of things. So whenever you evaluate some task that you've never done before, or some event that you've never gone to, or some party with people that you don't know, monsters, immediately. And that's exactly what she gets. Terrified. You have to say no. You have to say no. And of course, the one saving grace is that she doesn't even have the guts to say no. And so she instead says, okay, I guess maybe I'll manage the funds. Wait, shouldn't she? No, she's bad at it. And I like this little moment. It actually reminds me of Asobi Asobase, which I don't like very much as a show, but that is quite cute. And I like the design of the thing. Why is she blushing for this? I don't know, but it's still very cute, and it continues doing the little character moment cut-ins that I find really, how do I put it? I find them very compelling. I find them to be very compelling little emotional moments of representations of how a character acts or interacts in a certain framing. And they're good, and they're cool. Okay, we'll start again next day, and we cut to here, and we discover that what she is actually trying to do is try to catch a cold, and sister is drowning, and then blast herself. I think these are icy hot patches or something. I don't even know. Blasting herself with cold air, trying to get sick immediately. Don't do this. Don't do this. Also, as far as I know, first, temperature oscillation, or like going from hot to cold and whatnot, has very little evidence to back the idea that that will cause your immune system to lose function, or that you'll become more likely to catch a cold because of the cold. It just doesn't seem to be correlated effectively. In many ways, the reason that bacteria and viruses, specifically viruses, spread better when it's cold is for the same reason that your meat stays better when it's cold and your vegetables stay better when it's cold, is that it slows down the biological processes of the living things and also prevents them from falling apart. If you want to denature proteins, you apply them to heat. If you want to preserve proteins, which all the living things are made out of, then you keep them cold. And so when it comes to spreading through the air or through water droplets or through touch, the viruses live on longer in cold circumstances or something like that. And so colder times make for more spread of the thing because they die less. Makes sense to me. Also, UV radiation and sunlight generally kills almost everything. So if you want to kill all those things, expose them to sun. And if you want viruses and bacteria to live everywhere, live in the dark. And they'll do great. Dark and cold and damp, because they need moisture as well. And she gets up and curse my darn immune system. And we get a text that says, can't wait to see you. And she can't even give it up. Damn it. And she says a silly thing about being very glad that you stopped me from going on my particular thing that I was going on. And I want to see this moment. Gosh, that's so precise. It's such a... So it goes click, click, click. Tick, 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 and then and it's so precise in the turning, and then that turning becomes this turning. And then boink! Pa-pow! I really like it. For making an honest woman out of me, you have boundless gratitude. No idea what she's talking about. I'm here. Do it! Do it! Do it! And now you're in an awkward circumstance. And she does the thing that she would do in front of the cashier, or at the cashier place, right? This is the same freak out. Same kind of freak out, even. And the lady doesn't care. Because most people don't care. And they see you whiffling and waffling, and they're like, all right, you coming inside or not? You want a drink? You gonna work here? What are you trying to do? What's the plan? I don't have time to think about you. She's all freaked out, and then we just cut to, hi, nice to meet you. And then we get Mango Kamen, and she sticks with a name that she's been given just because it's a nickname for the same reason that she would stick with a nickname before. Nickname! And no. And she forgets that she's her sister, remembers the thing. The way that the yellow backpack moves is kind of cool. I guess it's the addition and then subtraction of the shading here and here, combined with the moving back and forth. It might be rotated over 3D for volumetric shading sort of stuff, that kind of idea, but it just looks kind of cool. You don't have to be so nervous, right, sis? And that doesn't help, because if you've ever tried to stop worrying about something, it never works. Also, keep our work and private relationships separate. Ouch. I like this little cut in. I don't know why. This one stands out to me, where she's got these snacks and the apple juices and stuff. It's cute because it's something weird about the character that we notice, is that you've got this sort of hard ass, wearing the striped pants, got the choker on, music manager lady, and she's drinking kids' apple juice. Like there's some softness to her, even as she's trying to be hard on the outside. And that seems about right. And again, I can't help but think of Dagashiya from Nononbiori. Soft in the middle. Where is Bocchi? Oh, there she is. Oh, this cut was really interesting looking. Because the woomph, back, woomph, back, woomph, is really cool. It's got a thrust to it. Also, the way that she walks has this like hup. It's got a weightiness to it. A weightiness to it that feels goofy and fits the character really well. And the general three-dimensionality of this kind of a scene, where you've got characters moving in and out of depth of field, adds incredible layers of difficulty to compositing and making everything feel correct. If the character takes a step and they don't move closer to you at the rate that you would expect based on what your brain does in terms of calculating how tall that character is and what their stride distance would be, and if it's off a little bit, your brain goes, nope, and this scene looks wrong to you. If it's not carefully planned out where the characters step, in every step that they take, in every movement that they make, with the background and having it all be together, you look at a scene like this, and it does not work. And instead, the scene works. Her feet don't slide. They step on the fucking background. Step. And that means that the planning of the shots is immaculate, and also the compositing of the shots and how they take the animated piece and sync it up with the background and put a little shadow around each shoe to make it all look semi-real, close enough to fool your brain. It has to be really close to fool your brain, and that means care. It means care in every frame of the thing. Did it need to have a shot where we shoot from the most difficult possible angle for this scene? No. Did they choose to do it because it challenged them as artists and makes for a cool scene? Probably. Just like at the very beginning, we've got a character walking over the camera, steps over the camera, steps down the hallway carrying the bags of ice. Did it need to be that difficult? No. Why did they make it that difficult? Because it stands out, and it did. That's pretty cool. Freak out Bocchi, overly, can't remember it all, somehow gets the guitar from somewhere, and again, framing in this space in an awesome way. And also bombastic and clever in its style. And she seemed kind of crappy at the concert, but she reminds me of something. But she's good. I don't think she realizes it, but I recognize that sound from somewhere. Badoing Eureka! And in that badoing, she badonks. Hey! To work. I like these little backgrounds. They're continuously colorful in a way that does something representative. It's not just colorful or cute for the sake of being cute or colorful. It does something for the scene. Framing can do stuff for the scene and draw your eye. Composition can do stuff for the scene and draw your eye. Composition in abstract does that too. Yellow flowers, explosion, bonk in the middle, 2 yellow characters, pink character, she's shaking Bocchi. The bonk in the middle sort of explodes outward into these sort of sunflower petal sort of idea. And then goes from there to somewhere else. I don't know what the fuck that was. I think somebody just, PiP Soy? Music show live lovers. Music party. The hands. Champ of human is definitely bump of chicken. PPK. And that's PPK as well. PPKE. I have no idea. Something rabbit. Something life. Oh rabbit. Oh life. All of these have got to be references and representations of something of value. And then Marshall amps. Very cool. Bad pineapple as well. What that is, I don't know. We explained the whole drink ticket situation and the way that they run the place. These little bits of explanation of how hard other people have it and the way that the environment and the industry runs are a scattering of utility. They're useful. It's like when you have a show where characters are going to the gym and you have moments where they talk about what the gym things actually are and how the world works in that way. Or when you read JoJo's and he's got a scene where he's like, this is actually how things work in Italy and people go to places like this. And this is a cool thing that you didn't know about the world. It's like the author coming through and expressing a love and a care for the industry itself and the way that things actually work, not just the fantasies about it. And I really like that kind of stuff. So we offer drinks and operate like a restaurant. Are you listening? Not so much. I can't believe I cleared the bar. It's such advanced stuff. And we get this really lovely frame. Is this growth? Wow, it's all on ones. And roses, oh, it's not all on ones. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it's twos at first and then on ones. And parts of it are on ones and parts of it are on twos as well. The things in the back sort of all shift at once, which is fine. I wonder if this is an Utena reference. I wonder who drew it. And whether they've drawn anything like it before. Customers already. We're about to be busy. No. Death. Despair. Darkness. No, I'm not ready. I must close shop. And she goes under the counter, under the table, can't handle it. We sort of jump through all of the things. Kaki oysters. Arananto. Music party, and good field. Okay, cool. And she's overwhelmed, but then the band starts. And part of what I want to do is to look at what they are saying up top. Because we get the characters discussing, oh, they're pretty good, and they start to lose themselves in the band, which is exactly right. But I want to see because I lost myself in their conversation, I want to see what the band actually says. Our second album goes on sale. So we're back to doing concerts, but we hope you all bought it. We tried to make every single song better than our first album. We tried to improve. Very cool. And if you haven't bought it yet, we're about to play some of those songs. So if you like them, please buy the album. And there's something I want to tell you guys first. The crowd rocked pretty hard at our last concert. So after it was over, a guy came up and offered his card. And we were nervous. Is this time for our major debut, we thought? But it would look pretty lame to let it show. Let our nervousness show, they mean. So after a beat, we just said, hello, welcome. Welcome? Habits can be scary, huh? So we fucked up. We did something silly and said something stupid. And now we're laughing about it and sharing that information about our own mistakes on stage. The words that came out of my mouth were the words I've said a million times at my arubaita, at my part-time job. According to the guy who gave us his card, he wanted to listen to the band on After Us Today, Taidaman, but we don't really get along with them and we really want to outshine them. So we hope you listen to Alexandism too. And in the meantime, we have a critical explanation from Yellow about exactly why she's doing what she's doing. Why are you so nice to me? And she says, you know, I really like this place. This place is home to her. It's also partly her family's, right? She lives here. But it's hard. There are only a few places where we get to actually interact with the customers, and I want to do what I can to make people like it. I want to do my best, Gambarimasu, to make other people like it too. And she takes that as, I'm so sorry for fucking it up for you. That's so important to you. Oh no, what have I done? It's no. That's not it at all. I want you to like it too. And so it answers the question, why are you being so nice to me? Well, because I want you to like the things that I like. I want to show you the things that I care about. And there are some deep reasons why that's important to people, but maybe we'll get into those as the show progresses. For now, it's enough that that's the reason. And it says something else, which is that the conversing and the talking seems to come easily to Nijika, which I think is her name. I might have fucked it up, to Yellow. But what if it doesn't? And what if it's trained in? And what if it's possible for her because there's something bigger than her that she's worried about? A goal that's bigger than her that she's focused on. That seems potentially possible and maybe correct to me. And then in the background, let me introduce the band. And what they say about each of them is something goofy. His own way of doing things. He's on bass and he eats curry before a concert. Because he's human, right? This guy, he's pretty normal and he's always got our backs and he's on drums. And the guitarist has too many effects pedals because he's a goofball. I want us to have fun working and to have fun playing. I want us to have fun. I want you to have fun because I like this place and having fun is what I'd like to do here. And it makes it more fun for me when you're having fun too. That's human. And that's how a lot of people are. And that's how a lot of people wish that they could be. And so there's somebody to admire. Whether you're Bocchi or whether you're a human being watching lines in color on a screen, that's a person to admire. I want to have fun together. Ishoni. Of course, I also hope you'll be able to speak to customers with a smile. It's starting. They're playing. And she sees it going. They're all enjoying themselves. And it makes her ashamed of her own concert, but not in a way that makes her withdraw and retreat this time. Instead, it makes her want to change. If I stay the way that I am, I'll be more of a disappointment to the people around me. And nothing will change. And so I have the power, which is to say I have the responsibility, which is to say that I must do it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if I hate it, I have to do it now, because you've recognized the thing that's wrong, and you know what you could do about it, and it matters to you because it matters to somebody who matters to you, and so it's bigger than you now. And suddenly, shockingly, I want to make the effort to change, even if only gradually. That's hard to do, but I want to enjoy this with the rest of them. That's hard to do. And the opportunity immediately knocks. Oh, you want to make a change? Here's your opportunity. I got it. Hi, coming up. And she fucking stumbles through it and flails through it. And it's not easy for her, and she fucks it up, and she's nervous, and she makes a fool of herself, and what she gets in return is not what she thought. It's not a live stream of her that goes ultra viral, because most people don't give a shit. This girl just wants an orange juice. But she goes, and she fucking does the thing, and she puts the damn lid on it, and it happens as the music plays, because the music is a part of it, and she's walking to the rhythm and doing the things to the vibe, right? And she looks up, and we focus on the eyes because we do this properly. and it's too much, and she looks up and we actually make the contact, because when you make eye contact with somebody else, it encourages eye contact back, and we get the gag at the end, which is that Bocchi looks ridiculous. She looks silly as fuck, and she fucks it up really badly. Hi, have a thing. And this character is going to take about 30 seconds before she forgets the nervous girl at the counter. But Bocchi is going to remember this moment for forever. And it's over. Hey, you did it, though. Ganbarimashita. Yeah, you did. And then having you here will make my memories of today's concert even more fun. You contribute. You matter. And the way that you matter matters. The way that you contribute matters. And then we frame it as, you've taken a big step, but it's still just one step among an infinitude of an endless staircase, because that's correct. It's always the next step, Dalinar. It's always the next step. There's no end. When the steps end, you end. So start climbing. Keep running. See you later, and she says, see you tomorrow, and it's confirmed. There will be a tomorrow, and we will be together the tomorrow. And she runs away, happy. The work thing isn't as hard as I thought. I'll do my best again tomorrow, and of course she gets hit by the freight train of getting sick, because she suffers by her reluctances. Oh right, gotta text her. And she's super sick. Now that we've got her on board, we will have to get that singer, and in the karaoke bar is number 4, Red and Fiery. And we'll have to see who that character actually is, because I've got some inklings, and I'll bet I'm wrong. And I'm happy to be wrong. Progress. One step. One character to look at in the eyes. Makes every other person that she can't look at in the eyes a little bit easier to look at. And one process of overcoming the difficult thing makes every difficult thing more possible. So, that's episode 2 of Bocchi. Here's my question for you. What's one small, manageable, measurable, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound, that's for SMART goals, but what's one small step that you could take against whatever it is that's about you, that is you, that's holding you back? What's one thing that you could do? Small thing that you could do to get better. This past week I went to a New Year's party. I was reluctant to go. I knew that I wouldn't know most of the people there. I knew that some of the people who would be there are people that I don't like very much. It isn't that I dislike them, it's that I find them too energetic for me in a way that makes it hard for me to be myself and to experience and to be okay. And I decided to go anyway, and I went with a particular goal in mind. And the step that I took was to talk to everybody at that party that I could and ask them what their New Year's resolution was, and pay attention and to believe in them. And then I did it. And there was a point at the party where I went and I sat down for the first time in a group, bunch of couches, a bunch of guys sitting around in those couches, none of whom I met. They're all engaged in their own conversation. And a little lull happens in the conversation, and the opportunity presents itself for me to talk to the guy who's right next to me and ask him. And I could have not done it. But instead I took the one small step of going, hey man, what's your name? What's your New Year's resolution? And that one small step was the first step in talking to 23 people, not only talking to them, but looking them in the eye, paying serious attention to them, asking them, questioning them, getting them to reframe their statements and responses, and really genuinely interacting with a bunch of humans. A process which I found incredibly draining and which I'm still recovering from because it was too much for me. But that one small step turned into 20 steps, turned into more steps, turned into an excellent night. And an excellent experience that is itself one step made of steps that reinforces within me the possibility that I could be a person who is sociable and pays attention to people and is capable of looking people in the eye. And not only that, but I started with this goofy kind of guy who seemed like he was pretty goofy and fun and having a good time. And over the course of the party, I talked to the more dangerous looking people at the party, including the scariest people at the party, which were the cute girls at the party. And those steps led to me talking to a bunch of the cute girls at the party and getting to know them and getting some of their numbers. Step by step by step by step. Did it happen all at once? No. Did I get to the point where I could do that all at once? No. It started a long time ago when I started deciding not to be a loser. And I started to do that because I felt rough. And I didn't like myself very much. And I decided to talk to more people and to get outside of myself more. And part of that was to share things that I find valuable with the world by turning a camera on and talking to it. And I've been doing it for 4 years. And every day when I wake up and I stream daily the Daily Brew, or I make a video and record it, and I post it to the internet for the world to laugh at if they want to, or to praise if it's worthy, I take another step and I make another layer of paint in the mountain of unquestionable proof that I am exactly who I say I am. Start painting layers. Start taking steps. Start moving forward. And if you can smile and laugh along the way, it'll help. I believe in you. Aim for the sky, but remember, it's a little staircase that gets you there. We evolve beyond the person that we were a minute before. Little by little, we advance with each turn. That's how a drill works. Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. You're the drill. Climb the stairs. Push forward. Aim high. Go bit by bit and step by step. Break down the impossible into manageable little pieces. Slay the dragons that are made of smoke. Overcome your own fears. Because they're wispy monsters in the dark, more often than not. And you can be whole and strong, and you could be someone that you would admire. So aim for it, and step forward. And then step again. And then again. Much love. See you next week. Peace.